What's the deal, pickles? So, y'all, I'm starting off with the intro ASAP because your girl is tired and there's not a whole lot of intro going on other than to say I'm going to talk about my top four and the one thing that I'd like to accomplish this upcoming week. I'm going to review what happened last week, which AKA kind of feels like it was a disaster, but it is what it is. And I want to talk a little bit about how do I turn that around? Like, how do I turn my L's into lessons, right? Like it could be your losses into lessons. And I think that's important. Part of this whole thing, so I'm diving in. Part of this whole thing, actually, hard pause. This is a great time for you to go get your project. You can go get your tea, your coffee. I have my water, and I will be drinking, y'all, because I cannot let the sun beat me to finishing this water, okay? Because I will not be staying up all night going to the restroom. So, with that said, you can get your water. Another thing that I would strongly encourage you to do if you want to participate is go grab your journal. This is one that I've been using here lately. I'm not one of those people that just journaled since the time I was born, but I do journal to clear my thoughts. And part of this journey that I'm on right now is I wanted to have it all in one place. So I bought this new one. I'm a lefty. And so I always like a good spiral bound anything because it just makes it easier for me to write. And this has just been really good. I haven't felt it by a long shot, but just writing like the big ideas and things that I want to stick to me. And so I'll give you an example. Here's one thing that stood out to me this week. Success comes from doing the boring but essential shit every day. Y'all, I don't really curse, but whenever I have to read the quotes, it always tickles me. And let's see, I had another one. Let me see. All the other ones are just like summaries. That's the only direct quote that I put. And so I'll jump into what happened this week. This was the week. So this week um honestly, I don't know what happened. Everything just went like it was as if everything around me got the same memo except for me. It was like, show your entire tail and see if Dana snaps. And so, it was a very interesting. Let's talk about like on all fronts. So it started off so amazing and then it ended amazing. So the beginning of the week, my husband and I were out for a walk. We part of the 75 hard challenge that I'm on right now, which requires me to work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside, drink a gallon of water, read 10 books of a nonfiction business or personal development book, um, take a progress shot every day, no cheating, stick to your diet. I think that's it. And a part of it is my husband and I have started back doing our morning walks, which has been amazing. And it always is very just clears the mind and gets stuff going and gets ideas running and it just feels good. And I think probably like on Monday, we had a really good walk. We had a great walk of like clearing out and really just getting straight with where things are going, where they are, how we can support each other in our different projects. It was just honestly just it was very almost cathartic because it was very good. And then right after that, it was just like it was, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And so very interesting time at work and just having a lot of stuff to do with our daughter, making sure she had stuff going done and clients and just really not having a whole lot of time to do what I wanted to do. And it was a huge aha moment for me. And here's the thing, they happen all the time. Like just because you decide you want to do something or you want to put your energy to something, everything is not going to bow out and be like, sis, do you, we got your back. No, it's like, no, we want you to keep doing what you've been doing. We want you to keep being at where you said you was going to be at. We want you to keep. So it was a combination of that, and then also really adjusting to doing this challenge and being intentional about this challenge doing my regular life. Y'all, the weather was bad, but we got out and did the walks. I'm sore. Getting the water in time. And I remember like one night, a few nights ago, I was literally like setting 30-minute timers to remind myself to drink, just to keep drinking my water, because I was just so busy I didn't get to it during the day, which I'm not going to let myself do anymore. Hence, go ahead, sip. So I was up drinking till late. I remember one time I was going to the restroom and my mind was like, nobody will know. If you don't finish this, because my husband was asleep, if you don't finish this, nobody will know. And for a second, I was like, I mean, I did have a long day, and I still needed to read. I had read all day. I had read Klein. I had been reading all day, but it wasn't my nonfiction book. And in that moment, I just said to myself, I would know. I would know that I didn't do it and that I didn't follow through. And so I hobbled my sore bottom to the restroom. And to me, that was a huge moment, um, because it's for me now. It's completing the challenge, y'all. Y'all, please don't pay me no mind the extra stuff. Let me do another hard pause. The fact that this camera is not as clear as I want it to be was driving me nuts last week, but I was like, I've got to do it right here or it won't get done. So I just got to let it be what it is. And that's a part of this whole thing. So if y'all, if the fuzzy bothers you, I apologize. Sorry, not sorry. So I'll keep going. I would know. And in that moment, it really wasn't just about the challenge. And it was really about, I have achieved a lot in my life with very limited resources, with very limited access, just off of pure, I want to. And I feel as though we need to do it for our family, like all that good stuff. Yeah, all that good stuff that motivates you to get off your tush and do. And I feel as though right now it'd be really easy for me to kick back, put my feet up, and be like, and my heart just says, now's not the time. It is the time to take it up a notch. And that's in all areas. And so I'm fortunate that my husband really supports me. He has gone out on every workout, well, except for when I'm doing the ones on the inside. Every walk that I go on, he's supportive, but it's also, it's helpful to him too, because we have really conversations about business clients. Like we utilize the time really well. But I think it's also that he sees that too. And so I'm sharing all this to say, like, I always think that there are sometimes certain dreams and aspirations that you have that in your mind you could put a timestamp on where there's no timestamp. That it could be, how in the world am I going to do this, or shift gears or kick it up a notch. And I really believe if you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you're intentional and you are doing the work that needs to be done, it will happen. And so as I know that, it's just like, well, then what happened? Now it's getting to the point where even when I have weeks like I had this past week, that I still get it done. And honestly, I can say that's my fault. That's my bad. And y'all, can I just say, y'all, me and my husband have a round conversation, because I was like, it wasn't my fault, but it was, at the end of the day, it's my fault if I want to get things done. And so it made me sit and really think about, well, what happened? And so that's part of what I want to talk to you about. Like, I'm sharing what happened to me. I'm going to share my progress. I'll share what I want to do for this coming week. But the thing was, okay, what happened? Like literally, like black and white. And so I really had to sit down and take a look at my schedule, take a look at what I have on my plate, and take a look at what is going to take for me to get to the place that I want to be. And the resounding lesson that's coming back as like echoing back to me what I need to know is that number one, I really have to understand that good things take time. Now, I feel like I'm not like the time that I've had this past week doesn't count because I didn't get much done. But then it's that quantity that I'm kind of saying that I didn't do it because I didn't reach a quantity, not that I didn't do the work. And it's like, okay, don't count yourself out. I would have liked to have done more, but um the fact is this is where I am. This is where literally I am. So I did put a few notes so I wouldn't forget. Like, how do you turn, your losses into lessons? Like, how do you recoup that L? And it really was asking myself what happened. And for me, it took me going to my calendar, looking at everything that was there, then then bumping it up against what did I actually do, right? Like what I did last week. A lot of meetings, a lot of stuff. My job, the job that I have is a full-time job. I'm working with thousands, thousands of students a week. And so it is a full time, very taxing mentally in my heart because I just want people to do well. And I have to learn how to do my time and then shift gears so that I'm putting time onto my work. And what that was my initial goal when I went to my calendar. But when I went to my calendar and I was looked at everything, I was just like like black and white. This is why nothing felt like nothing got done. You have no space. You have no space, like being 100 with myself, no space. So, what that means to me is the space that I've already blocked out because I've already blocked out a certain amount of time that I do every single morning. I've got to stick to it. I've got to lay out what I'm doing during those time blocks and get all of it done, or if I don't, make a hard note so I know not to over pack that time so that I'm getting all of my stuff done before work starts for me. And that's a big deal because I literally was just like, okay, what is going on? And that's what it is. It's like there's not a whole lot of time in the day. By the time I'm done with appointments, coaching calls, teaching, reviewing stuff, following up with students, I look up, it's 7, 8 o'clock, and I get up at 3. So this week, I'm going to do better. I went in, reworked my schedule, um, sent out messages for places I need to reschedule, made sure that I update my standing appointments. I also put a cutoff time and then also put in blocks for dinner, my daily nap. That's what allows me to do all this, my daily nap. And the next phase of this is really that I want to have a better digital layout, like a better dashboard kind of system where I can kind of put like things that I need to watch, like for my coaching calls or review, student things that I want to follow up on, that I want to keep up with. And me and my husband were talking through that today. That's not figured out yet, but it will be. And that goes to the second question, like how can I adjust? I did a lot of adjustments, and it also means that anything that comes in on the fly, if it's not imminent, it's going to be a no because any time that I have that's extra, whatever that means, needs to go to my own projects because I know for a fact that I won't be able to move the needle on some of my bigger projects if I don't give them more time. And I'm trying to be not trying to be, and I've worked really hard at not having to overrun my weekends with stuff, but I may have to go back to working on Saturdays until the big projects are kind of up and going. So we'll see. I'm going to see over the next couple weeks. And if I have to add Saturdays back on, I'll just have to do it. Should I have foreseen this outcome? Should I have foreseen the outcome? Yes, if I would have looked at my calendar and like really looked at it. Like I have a lot of standing appointments. So it look, I'm like, it looks full, but it's not really full. But that was low key a lie. It was full. And yes. Now here's what has happened historically with me. I will still do it. I will still get all of it done, even if it means I'm only sleeping 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm not taking breaks. I'm doing my lunch, taking maybe a power nap for 20 or 30 minutes, and then getting back in there. But what I am noticing is because of me doing the 75 hard challenge, I need my sleep. Like your girl beats hot. So it's like, sis, that ain't gonna work. And right now, it feels extremely hard, but it's going to be really good for me in the end because I'm sleeping well. I'm rested. I'm not foggy brained. Like, I feel great. And now let's just get everything else aligned with that. So that's how I look to turn my losses into lessons, a lesson of like whatever it is. In this case, it was scheduling and it was getting my projects done and getting them out. And so let's go to girl week 23. And before I show week 23, did you write out your goals? Did you sit down and do something like this? If so, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, your girl, I'm intentionally not looking at stats, but I would love any comments or thumbs up that you can do to support and join in. And let's get to it. Okay. Write 10K words for my main script did not happen. I think I finished like 4 or 5, but it did. What I found was for this first one, I put this down trying to challenge myself, but I have two different things, the main scripts that I'm working on that are active. And I realized this week that I need to look at both of them and decide which one I'm putting the energy into, and then I'll move to the next one. And so I'd like to have that decision done by today because that made doing this impossible. I was bouncing back and forth, and I don't have, as we talked about, room for the bouncing back and forth. So that was a no, I did not do it, which makes me so sad, y'all. I did not even want to come on and record this video. But you know what? You got to put on your big girl panties and make it do what it do. So I'm going to strike through. Complete one of 52-week content. I completed the newsletter. I completed the post. And now this coming week, I'm going to do the rest of the stuff. So I did do this. I think I'm going to change these to... check marks. Edit on DW manuscript, I did. Complete 75 hard elements, I did. Just the one thing send the manuscript to the editor, did not. So I did not get that one thing done. So that's another L. Y'all got to see my sad face. So let's go down to week 24. So, and that meant that in this week, I did not accomplish what I set out to do. That's so sad. So, week 24. My husband and I had a long talk about this particular goal. Last week, I had the word count goal, and that was really a huge challenge because of what you saw on my schedule. Whenever I'm talking about this writing, this is not the joint or collaborative writing. I do all that. This is actually writing on my own personal manuscripts. And sometimes when I'm like right now, when I'm in between 2 or 3 active projects, that just doesn't happen. And I'm usually just okay with putting it on the back burner. Well, I've looked up that term from month to 2 months to 3 months. Now it's June. So I'm like, that's not going to work. That just doesn't work. And so at first I was like, well, maybe I should put a number like, 2,000, 3,000, just put it a little bit lower. And then my husband and I had just had a talk about, whenever you're going after a goal, it's easy for you to put down that you want the result. But the reality is we don't control the result, right? You may say the goal, I want to lose 100 pounds. I don't want to, but no, let me say something that's a little more accurate. I want to lose 50 pounds. I can say that. I don't control whether I lose it. You don't control whether you lose it. You control the things that you do that point you in that direction. How you eat, how you work out. Are you consuming alcohol? Are you eating good foods, wholesome, nutritious foods? Are you taking your vitamins? All of those things. Stretching, all that stuff. And so I rework this goal to, instead of being a and like a word count, I'm just doing time. So I'm going to put 1 hour a day, and all of this will start tomorrow. The second one is week one, outline and episode. That's going back to my content. So I'll be working on the outline and recording the first episode. So that'll be this week. Edit DW manuscript. I'm going to still be working on that manuscript for a client. Yes. And I actually have another one that I've started. Complete, beautiful. Okay, so those two clients, they'll be actively working on those manuscripts. Complete, and I just want to get those. I'm putting them on. Normally, I don't put stuff like this on my personal goal list, but I am this time because I know I have 2 more client manuscripts coming in at the end of the month. So I want to get these done earlier than projected. Complete, Beautifully Cruel. I had a recording or a meeting with a friend. We're going to talk about this wonderful book that I showed you all last week, and I'm almost done. This has been just such a treat. Such a treat. It was such a high point in the week. And then complete 75 hard elements. And yes, my one thing, I'm keeping my one thing the same. Send the manuscript to the editor. So I have until Saturday to send the manuscript to the editor. And y'all, I'm pushing for it. I am pushing for it. The final task, I have not listed a whole bunch of any task yet. And the reason why is because let me put my box there. There we go. I'm going to do that later today. I really want to make sure that I'm managing my time well. And now that I realize how full my schedule is, I think those items are going to keep me busy enough. I've already ordered our groceries for the week. I've already did the stuff for food prep for the week. I have very few that I can think of right now outside things other than some big stuff that we're doing, family stuff that we're doing. And that's been blocked out because I did all of that this morning. And so a lot of the things that I would have put here, I've put in place. And there's one thing else that we were kind of talking about, which is separating. My husband and I were talking about separating my notes that I do for my personal notes from my work notes and my client notes, because I put them all in the same calendar. And I actually be making an adjustment to that too, because I notice that it's so easy for me to get distracted or switch gears when I'm looking to do, like, let's say I'm looking to work on my project, but then I see something for my job or for one of my students, and I'm like, oh, let me go do that right quick. I forgot. And I'll end up going off on this. And then I'll come back and time will be up and I don't get anything done. So I'll be thinking through that today. After, because we just came in from our walk, I went to record this after I kind of get finished after the walk, shower, change, get dinner started. My husband's about to start dinner, and then I'm going to sit down and just think about the rest of this, probably out on paper, and then take it from there and do it in my journal. So everyone, that is it. I want to leave you with something. I have been absolutely enjoying this book. This book, 75 Hard, A Tactical Guide to Winning the War with Yourself, is so good. And at first I was gonna read it just like I read the health books that I knew I was gonna be using for the challenge. And at first, because I had listened to his podcast, like he recommended, I was not gonna read the book. But then I thought, you gotta read a nonfiction book anyway. Why not read the book that's the basis of this challenge? And my thinking was just to get better insight into what I'm doing. And I'm the kind of person that knowing why I'm doing something is really helpful, because by default I'd be like, I want to do this instead. And this has been just so I'm going to just find a part that has been instrumental with um y'all. It's a really easy read, but it's really good. um Okay. This is the thing that I'm left with for this week that I really want to ponder. Another reason why I didn't have a whole list of tasks, because this is the challenge for myself. One of the things, as I went into business again and I started working with clients, I promised myself that I wouldn't always be on the list, that I would always be working on my own projects, that I would not just do client projects and let my stuff just toss it to the side. And now I am realizing I've got to take it up from there, just like the way I'm doing things in my life, of taking it up to the next level. And this really affirmed it. Y'all, there's going to be some curse words. I'm going to read the curse words, or I may bleep it out. Let me do some sound effects. Okay. I don't think he will mind me reading a little bit of this. I'll skip around, and I would say you cannot buy this book on Amazon. You have to buy this on his site, and it is worth it. I think it was a little bit pricey, but now that I've read it, it's worth it. And I have a feeling I will read this book many times again. So here we go. He's talking about why with 75 hard. If you miss one thing on one day, you have to start over. Even if you were on day 74, if you forget to take your progress picture on day 74, you have to start all over at day one. And this is why. Um, Adjusting situations in life to make them more convenient for you and justifying it as better for your situation instead of admitting the truth, you're being lazy. And the context of that is like trying to fit things because that's the way you want them to be. He's saying you're being lazy, but to me, it's not going to help you get to where you want to be. If the requirements are that you have to do one, two, and three, and because I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do three, then that means you don't pass go. You don't get to collect $200. You don't get to win, right? And I'm noticing like more and more. I would have thought for me it would have been more about like external things, but really sticking to the same thing that I've said for myself to the T. So he goes on to say, you have to know how to follow directions to the letter. You have to learn how to execute on what you intend to do with no wavering, no deviation, no substitution, no justifying, no tweaking, no matter what, no effing compromise. And that's the energy I'm coming with. No compromising, Dana. No more compromising. And on here, another thing he says, because the situation will never be perfect. What a crazy week. It will not be perfect. And this leads to the last part that I really wanted to point out. He talks about mastering the monotonous to master the mundane task that you have to do. That those are the tasks that get you there. That is the boring things that you do over and over again that get you to where you want to get and who you want to be. And so he says, you have to master the monotonous in order to become the ruler of your daily routine, which in turn leads to you literally being able to accomplish anything you set your mind to. And that's that's me. It's me. And now it's about identifying what are the essential day to day tasks that must be done to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish and doing them every day without deviation, without exception, without changing the rules. And that's my quest. I believe I know what they are. It makes me nervous. I believe I know what they are. And I'm just praying for clarity from God. Like while I'm doing this challenge and while I'm fasting, to give me clarity on not just what they are, but how to execute them. And so with that said, I'll end it with this. If you've made it to this far, you may be watching it just to see what I'm talking about. I appreciate you for hanging around, but my heart's desire is that I think a lot of times in these situations, you see people, they come on when they're winning, how everything is going great. And I'm not saying things are bad, it's just I'm learning. Like I'm learning, I'm still learning. And my thing was like, how is it when you're in the in between? People really showing you so that when you go up against and go up for your goal and you come up against obstacle and you feel like you want to quit, you've seen somebody say, yo, I've been through that. And I brushed it off and I just had to keep going. I had to rework and keep going. And he talks about this idea that if everybody did what they were called to do, he didn't say it this way, but I'm saying it the way it sunk in my head. If everybody did what they were called to do or lived their purpose, how different our world would be. And I can't account for everyone. I can account for myself. I can try to be the best to be there for, so my husband will want to do what he's called to do, so that my children will want to be called do what they're called to do, and that anyone that's within this my sphere of influence will see that enough to the point where it will make you just want to, like you just can't help it. And it could be something small or something big. And so that's what I hope for you. With that said, your girl is out. Have a fantastic week. If you decide to write your top 4 or your one thing, let me know in the comments. I do answer comments. If you're just here to hang out, that's cool too. Make sure you just shout, like jump in the chat. Let me know how the comments. Let me know how you're doing. Say hey, sis. All of that. And I'll be back. I'll be back next week with my week 25 top 4 and one thing, Lord's will. And yeah, take care. Have a fantastic day. And I will see you hopefully sooner than later. Take care. Goodbye.